They rush into the store and they walk out with television sets. And I saw one the other day walking out with a refrigerator. He's got this massive. I said, he's a pretty strong guy, right? With Fani, F-A-N-I, Fani. How do you pronounce F-A-N-I, Fani? We have to win in November, or we're not going to have Pennsylvania. They'll change the name. They're going to change the name of Pennsylvania.
Trump wasn't looking or sounding like he was at the top of his game at a recent NRA rally in Pennsylvania, but when he wasn't rambling, Trump showed why we still, unfortunately, have to take him seriously.
Perhaps worst of all, even as they turn America into a crime-ridden, gang-infested, terror-filled dumping ground, Joe Biden and his thugs will do everything in their power to confiscate your guns and annihilate your God-given right to self-defense. You have a right to self-defense. You've always had that right. For 4 incredible years, it was my honor to be the best friend gun owners have ever had in the White House by far. Now I stand before you with a very simple promise. Your Second Amendment will always be safe with me as your president. And when I'm reelected, every single Biden attack on gun owners and manufacturers will be terminated my very first week back in office, perhaps my first day.
This is classic pandering from Trump, and he's using the NRA playbook to a T. Stoke the fear that gun owners are losing their rights, posture as someone protecting them, then collect the check from the NRA and the gun manufacturers propping up the group.
It was hardworking patriots like you who built this country, and it's hardworking patriots like you who are going to save our country. We will fight for America like no one has ever fought before. 2024 is our final battle. With you at my side, we will demolish the deep state. We will expel the warmongers from our government. We will drive out the globalists. We will cast out the communists, Marxists, fascists. We will throw off the sick political class that hates our country.
Dog whistling and conspiracies aside, Trump inflating the egos of his supporters here is eerily familiar to this piece of footage from January 6th.
So go home. We love you. You're very special. You've seen what happens. You see the way others are treated that are so bad and so evil. I know how you feel. We will protect our Second Amendment. We will evict crooked Joe Biden from the White House on November 5th, 2024. That's when it begins.
Tying guns to patriotism is another tried and true NRA tactic to disconnect gun nuts from the harm and danger that comes with the unfettered access to guns.
But I say, more than anything else, it's common sense. We want borders. We want strong borders. We want great education. We want low taxes. We want a powerful military. The day I'm inaugurated is the day that law and order, sanity and justice will return back to the United States of America.
Well, it's obvious this was just another campaign stop for Trump to galvanize his base, since he couldn't care less about any of these people outside of them voting for him. There's one part of his speech that's receiving far more backlash than what we've seen so far.
During my 4 years, nothing happened, and there was great pressure on me having to do with guns. We did nothing. We didn't yield. And once you yield a little bit, that's just the beginning.
It makes me sick and furious to see people like Trump and so many other Republicans refuse to cede any type of ground on the gun control debate, because it has a real-world impact. When you refuse to take any action on quelling the gun violence epidemic here in the country, which is unique to us. No other country has to deal with what we deal with when it comes to guns in the mass shootings. You know why? Because we don't have sensible gun laws. We should have in place a law where buying a gun is like buying a car, where you have to get a license for it. You have to register all of your firearms. And then in addition to that, before you can even bring them home, you have to go through some sort of rigorous training to make sure you are fully equipped to handle a firearm that can bring deadly harm to people. And background checks. Again, I don't understand why that isn't a common thought, a common practice in our society. Guns are extremely deadly and lethal. So it only makes sense to have background checks to make sure the people in possession of those guns are mentally stable and they're not going to do anything to inflict harm upon themselves or to other people as well. But the NRA and Republicans will do anything in their power to squash those efforts because you know why? The way the gun laws are set up as a whole right now, that makes them a whole lot of money. And they do not want to lose out on all their profits, right? Because it's greed, it's pride, thinking that you have a right to your gun, which is cool. But if you're going to use it in a sensible way, in a reasonable manner, then you should be tripping because you would clear the background check. You would clear the training. So yeah, money is a major cause for why people or the organizations like the NRA and Republicans will squash any type of gun control laws and restrictions on how people can purchase guns.